Today in Google Drive, let's create from all of the pieces that we've already looked at in this playlist and put it all together in one place. So we looked for a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. We saved it in Google Keep so that we'd have it. From there, we sketched out what it was we thought that quote could look like. Here's my sketch. Here's the best of my sketches and the simplest of what I did. It was a quote that I found on this website. And it was, "A lie cannot live." I wanted cannot to stand out big. I saw this as a serif. I've got my ideas. What I want to do now is get to Google Drawings and make that a little more pronounced, something that I could share and create and work with. So I'm going to go to More, go to Google Drawings, and I'm going to pull together all of the pieces, all the things that we've done, and try to make that work as a graphic all on its own. So once this comes up, the very first thing I would recommend doing is changing the canvas size. You remember that's under the File menu. I want this to be landscape because that's how I have it in my head. I'm going to go down here to Page Setup, just like we looked at before, and go to Custom. And I'm going to put in the 11 across the top because it's going to go on a standard piece of paper, and the 8.5 right here. So there's my 8.5 by 11 drawing canvas. I'm going to put in some text boxes. I need an A right here. And that's all I want in that text box because I want to be able to move things around. Then I'm going to put in lie in all caps. I'll go back here in a minute and pick out fonts for things. But here's lie. And then cannot, which I don't think needs to be in all caps. I'm going to format it like this. That's going to depend on the font that I end up with. And then live. Now, I want each of these things in its own box so that I can go about formatting it in its own box. Next decision's this font. Once I've got it selected, I'm going to get it to where I can start looking at fonts. Now remember, just like we looked at fonts in Google Drive, we can also look at them here. It's the same interface. It's the same collection of fonts. It's still Google. I know in my head for this, because I have choices that I've made, that I want a serif font. So I'm going to go up here to what I'm showing right now. The default is that it's going to show all my fonts. I want a serif. And even if I already have it on my list, it's a really nice place to just look at all of the fonts and decide what I want. I want something that's going to show up and be pretty pronounced and pretty, I don't know. So you get to look at all of your choices. I think let's do Vita Loca. Now it's got a blue check, so I know it's already in there. And click OK. I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to get down to it. You can also search them from here, but this is showing you everything you've got. For my situation, for this, I knew the category I wanted. I didn't want to look through every other font that I had to work with. So I'm going to pick this for that. Let it take effect. Change the font size to something nice and big. And bigger and bigger and bigger. And I want to be sure that lie and live end up being in the same font. I'm not going to make a bunch of color changes, I don't think. But I can put this together. The font that I've used most recently is up here at the top, which is really handy. And here I need to make that text box bigger. You're in charge of that box. You put it wherever you want to put it. I know I want it kind of down here. And I want this one up there. And I know my next choice is that I want cannot to be in something scripty. And I said red when I was dreaming this up. I'm going to pick this one, I think. No, I'm not. Just enough of a delay that there we go. And then we're going to look for a script. Now I can go to more fonts and pick out a script. I saw one down here that I think I'll use. This is kind of what I see in my head. Pick the biggest of the default font sizes that I can obviously go in and change, which may give me another idea that I can then work with. I think I just had another idea. Let's change the A to something nice and big, like Architect's Daughter or something. And again, we're going to make it as big as we think we might need it. Move it up in the corner. We've got these gray and white boxes that we can see the grid on. These are not big enough, even if I make cannot huge. And so you can type in what you want here. You're not stuck with those font sizes. And it is helpful to have the text boxes the size of your words so you can see what you're working with. And from there, that lets me decide. And look at the spacing on this. I don't know what's going on. Line spacing. I don't need any line spacing here. I want that up at the top of that box. So I'm just going to move it to where the A itself is where I want it, even if the text box is in the wrong place. Now, lie is 150. Live needs to be 150. Just going to make the text box need to be bigger. Just going to make that. Just going to let me see exactly what kind of space I have for cannot. Now, I've changed my mind with cannot. I'm going to use word art. I'm going to go up here to insert and word art. Type in my word. Enter. There it is. So I'm going to delete this other text box that I've got because I don't need it. Because I changed my mind. I didn't change my mind that way. I changed my mind this way. The joys of working with text boxes. You want to be sure you've got the right one selected so that when you delete it, you're really deleting it. Hover over this. And sometimes you think you've got it selected and it just won't. And then it does. So there's that box I don't need. Now, I've got my box. I pick this. I can make it bigger or smaller, but I want to be sure I've got it all red like I want it. Black outline just barely looks kind of sharp, so I'm going to leave it. Then I need to get with my cursor like I want it. Get it in the right general spot and angled by using the circle up here that'll let me determine that. And then I can stretch it across and see if that works. If that's the vision that I had, that's how I wanted it to do. There's my graphic. Bigger and smaller and getting my point across. My original idea had some photo corner kind of things, had some lines. So I'm going to go up here to my lines. And I think I'm going to use these, well, maybe not lines. Maybe I'll look at shapes. Shapes has got these half frame pieces that might be nice, or there's these diagonal stripes, or there's, those may be the best two of our choices. So I could draw lines. Let's do both and we'll see what we like. You can draw a line. Use my guides here to see how it's going to work. Select my line. There's my line, except that I want the arrow to go the other way. This arrow, but just a terminal end there. I would like it a little thicker. I think I want to keep it black. And there's my line. Now, there's an extra line. Take that out. This is just what I want it to be. So I'm going to copy it and click back here out of everything and paste it. And now I have two of these. And as it's selected, I can move that line. Still straight, still connected, still whatever I want it to do. But I don't have to completely reconnect it. Now, I could zoom in and clean that ending up. I could change it however I'm going to change it. That's one of my options. The other one, we looked at the shape. So let's use, and there will be. Here's our other photo corner option. And so you have your graphic. Congratulations.